Hello and welcome back to the Matt Yasa channel. So I've been documenting my new adventure here on a motorcycle. Today I'm going to be taking the interstate and traveling at high speeds. As you can imagine, this can be a bit scary. On the back of a machine, traveling next to much larger machines at a very high speed. Without any exterior safety features besides a helmet and leather jacket, the safety of my life now relies on the trust of these other drivers. And so I'll have to drive very defensively, as well as keep a good eye out in front of me for any debris that finds its way on the road. And now going up past 50 miles an hour is when the wind, the air, starts to get very harsh. The windscreen is only going up a few inches. It's really not that effective, especially at high speed. See some debris coming up on the right here. For a car, it wouldn't really be a big deal if you hit that, but on a two-wheel, it'll disturb your front wheel, and that one's for steering. I'm going to cross over onto this bridge, which can get a little bit windy. Now, as I go into the curves of this off-ramp, I do more leaning of my body than turning the steering column. That is a big difference from a four-wheeled vehicle. Your body posture affects the steering. In fact, I really don't even need to grab the handlebars here. I could just lean my body left. It'll turn the vehicle in that direction. It's a very subtle movement, too. A little bit in the upper body, or you can even sway your hips to nudge it back and forth. Which is one thing you might want to remind your passenger, so they sit more still and don't disturb your steering. And we've got some more debris coming up here, right at a nice spot at the end of this turn. It looks like it might have just been a bag, but you never really know until you hit it. And so I had a comment asking if I was going to do more motorcycle videos, if that was going to be an addition to the channel. And I am planning to give that a go. I am more of a spontaneous creator. I like to just make whatever I feel, just go with the flow. I'll be changing lanes here, so I need to make sure I look before I change to make sure it's clear. I do find a greater visibility on the motorcycle compared to a car, even with a full face helmet on. And so with being a smaller vehicle, I know the other drivers are going to have a harder time seeing me in their car. And so I'm just going to go ahead and assume that they don't see me and stay out of their way. And that's a safety technique. If I think I'm invisible, then I also think about what I need to do in case they actually don't see me. Which is one of the reasons I bought a bright vehicle, to increase my vehicle's visibility. I plan to add some more colors to it as well. Go for more of a two-tone vibe. I feel when you personalize the look of a vehicle is when you start to make it more unique to yourself, or your own. And I like contrasting colors, which I think will pop more in people's attention. This lane is going to end and merge into the next one, so I'll have to make sure to look again. That flashing on the tachometer is the shift indicator. I can set that in the menu to remind me to shift at a certain RPM range, which can be useful at the start, but I like to shift more by the sound of the engine and the feel of the throttle. Basically, if it sounds loud, shift up, and if there's not enough power, shift down. Personally, I like to shift a little early for that fuel efficiency, which this bike does do really well compared to my car. This speed in 6th gear is about 60 to 70 miles per gallon. I'll make sure to turn on the fuel meter next time instead of the battery on the display. We've got a wind turbine blade coming up on the left. They take only one by road, but I've seen them do like almost a dozen or so by train. It looks like we have a truck down on the right shoulder. You have to be careful for someone walking around it. We also have a factory coming up on the right, which produces a slightly unfriendly smell. That's one thing about the motorcycle, is you're much more exposed to the elements. You get the wind, the smells, the sights, everything. It's taken me a little bit to want to speed up, but when I do, this thing just cuts right through the wind. And it's very easy to look down and find myself accidentally doing 80. And so I find myself more in tune with the vehicle, more of an extension of my body. As a car, you kind of work with the vehicle through a few inputs. Here, I am the vehicle. And I know, being the vehicle, that I don't have 7 gears, so I don't know why it's still flashing at me to shift up. Now with 250 miles on the odometer, it shows you I'm a third of the way through the break-in process, which happens on these new bikes. Those freshly machined parts need to gently wear away at each other until they're tuned for daily use. The metal pistons expand under heat and the cylinders contract, and so that increases the amount of friction, the amount of contact between the two. And so it's recommended not to take the engine above a certain RPM level for a period of time, and slowly increase that range as you go. And at the 600 mark, Kawasaki recommends an oil change, along with a list of other things that need to be inspected. And now that I'm reaching my exit, let me know how you enjoyed the video. I'm going to try out some different camera angles, some different equipment, and try to get a nice kind of relaxed video ride. I'm not quite sure where it's going to lead. I do plan to continue my glassworking as well. I hope to invite my new viewers to glassworking and inspire them on their own artistic endeavors.
My first time on the interstate by myself, first time doing 80. Wow. Like a bobblehead.
It's not about trying to recreate or compare yourself to what someone else can do, but figuring out what you can do. And you don't have to worry so much about impressing other people with your work. If you can impress yourself, then other people will follow that. And if not, well, you can still jump on your bike and ride to find some freedom.